Peace, Gabe Rosales, Anti-Injustice Movement, Calafia Zulu, G-Reppin', Real Hip Hop Forever, Grand Unified Theory, Los Animales, all these different groups. We need solidarity right now. I just went up to Occupy LA last week, went and checked out the camp to see what was going on. Anybody that's got any questions or just kind of curious about what is happening up there, this is my personal take on what was happening. I didn't spend a lot of time up there. I'm going to be going back up periodically. I went up to take some food with a fellow anti-injustice movement soldier, Joran, some food and water, and we saw the encampment. He said it was a lot different than previously in the month. They've been there for 29, 20, or 30 days now. And obviously LA is just one city, and so I can't speak for what else is going on other places. But just kind of my take on what was going on. It really is like a little society over there. It's really like they've got their own government, which is exactly the way a movement is supposed to be going. They have committees, they have subcommittees. They're people are getting together discussing ideas. One thing is, it is a little community. There's tents completely circled LA City Hall, so there's even a rift in between the people that are camped there right now, which is frustrating because we need more than ever to be on the same page. People on the top are irritated at the people in the south part of the camp because they might feel like their voices are not being represented. This is just random people I was talking to that have been there for a while. And that needs to be addressed. But, obviously getting involved with the facilitating is also key. You have to go talk to the subcommittees. You have to voice your opinion, get your ideas there. They all take a vote. And that's the only way it's going to work necessarily, because everybody screaming at the same time is completely crazy. It's chaos. And another thing is downtown LA is right next to Skid Row, so obviously there's all kinds of cats coming in that are addicted to drugs, heroin, all kinds of different things, and some people are thinking it's a party, and that's what's really frustrating to a lot of the other people in the movement, because they're there to try to accomplish something, to get something done, and they're there from, there's people from all walks of life. I mean, this one woman was up on the City Hall steps, and she was doing some kind of chant in the middle of the day, trying to just kind of calm everybody down because, tempers flare up. All these people are living in close conditions, intense. And she was an immigration lawyer. And then another man that I talked to was an awesome guy. He was a facilitator. He was working, he's actually used to be Goldman Sachs. So he's been the top 5%, seen what's behind the curtain. He was giving me some insight into what we know, these different banking scenarios and what people are thinking on that side of the fence. Now he's actually like a city council member for Venice in Los Angeles. Amazing dude. I'm going to be in contact with him. But it was just, it was frustrating to see people there for the party atmosphere, you know what I mean? But the thing is, we've got to expect that kind of thing. At the same time, like, that's the way life is. We're not always on the same page, and we have to still have compassion, even though we know that certain people are there for different reasons. Especially here in Southern California. I mean, the weather's beautiful. I mean, I'm looking at pictures of other Occupy movements where the snowstorms are going on, and like these people are still camped out in tents, and people could possibly die. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. But one of the things that I get frustrated with too is I hear people talking about, oh well, it's such an inconvenience to have these people down there. Well, you think about the grand scheme. If you have kids, it's more inconvenient for your kids to be paying twice the amount of taxes when they make 10 times less money than these guys at the top that are really actually not really doing anything. They're moving money around. They're moving numbers around. And the whole banking system obviously is set up to keep us all in debt consistently. And that's a fact. If you don't know about that, look into it, because that might piss you off. So this little inconvenience of like people being down there, well, your future generations are going to be inconvenienced for the rest of their lives if people don't stand up and do something about it. And while I was down there was a guy, that was irritated he kept smelling weed smoke, because every morning he wakes up and he was ranting and raving. He ended up getting jumped while I was there for voicing his opinion about people smoking too much weed, which I think is bullshit, because, we're, do whatever you got to do. But the point is we're trying to accomplish something. And when there are MSNBC and other cameras down there and they're videotaping people, and these guys, there's people like doing yoga and they're hula hoops, it's like a circus. And then it just smells like weed. What kind of movement is that? And I'm not just coming from the sober Nazi perspective. I know. Fuck, Gabe always complains about drunk people. It's funny. But honestly, on that tip, this guy ended up getting jumped to like 5-10 minutes after I heard him ranting and raving. He ended up getting socked in the face, and it's ridiculous, because that's not why we're there. That's not the point of being there, is to get high and sit around and get free food. Like, so that's one thing that I saw. And apparently earlier there was a lot more people that were focused on the movement. So I think it kind of goes in waves. I'm going to go back up there soon. I think this Saturday. But we are making progress. Apparently, City Council, LA, has started to make some different provisions. They've already got some different bills that they're talking about passing, and things are moving forward. Remember, too, these bank fees, these debit card fees that the banks have implemented and that are retracting again. You got to look at it like, if somebody says that, if somebody's stabbing you 5 times, and then they go, okay, I'm only going to stab you 2 times. Aren't I nice? Like, you have to recognize when people are just bullshitting you. So that's not, to me, that's not necessarily progress. You know what I mean? It's just them recanting on whatever BS they were trying to pull on us in the first place. Best thing to do, if you really want to help this movement and actually have a future for children, which I hope some of us do, is take your money out of these big banks. Put them in credit unions. I mean, there's San Diego credit unions like open across the street from my house. It's $50. You just have to prove you live in Southern California. It's and there's no ridiculous fees. You don't have to deal with this stuff. And I know we all have a billion freaking bank stories. They're just terrible. So anyways, that's just my take on what's going on. If you have any questions, I'm going to be going back up again, probably taking more food soon. If you want to contribute, hit me up on Facebook or whatever. And hopefully we can keep this movement forward. Anti-injustice movement, G-Rep and Real Hip Hop Forever, Calafia Zulu, Grand Unified Theory, and Los Animales representing Gabe Rosales, Vital Nonsense. Peace.